Hello. So today is September 10th, so it's officially Suicide Prevention Day. I just thought I would say a couple of things really quickly today as a suicide survivor. I made a longer video yesterday about what I think for myself would be proper suicide intervention or prevention, and that would come in the form of support long before a person reaches suicidal crisis. I'm not alone in this thinking. A couple other alliances for suicide survivor are also promoting the same awareness at this point. Suicide is complicated. And they agree with what I'm saying, which is many times the suicide seems to come out of the blue. And trying to prevent that is like trying to prevent a lightning strike. And unfortunately, so many people do not, they don't say anything. There's no dramatic signs. It's kind of like, for myself, I think of it as like watching the ocean, and it looks calm on the top, but underneath there's this great submarine battle going on, but you can't see that from the outside. When you look, everything looks, pretty much the way it always looks, or maybe there's very subtle signs that can, really be anything. It doesn't set off any kind of alarms, or, there's no great signs that most people give off. So for myself, I hope that, especially in this day and age, that the medical health system, the mental health system can be revamped to offer support to people long before they reach that stage of, getting ready to just leave. There should be support groups. My son was not insured because he had moved from one state to another, and he basically fell through the cracks. He was only living in his new state for 3 months, trying to get some kind of insurance, but there was so much quagmire and paperwork, and, that should not be. That should not be. Another thing is that there should be mental health clinics that are accessible, and people should be able to go there, whether they're in between insurances. If it's an emergency, you should not be denied care. My son was denied care in an emergency room because he was uninsured. They basically said, you don't have insurance, there's nothing we can do for you, toodaloo, and he was dead 3 hours later. That should never happen to any American citizen. That should not happen. Absolutely not. There should be mental health access, and not in the form of, aggressive, grudging kind of healthcare. Not only was he dismissed for not being insured, but he was there in a full, for him, a full-on anxiety attack, and they refused to help him in any way, as if he was a drug seeker. And my son was not an addict. He did not use any kind of illicit drugs. He was not a drug addict. I'm not knocking anybody that struggles with addiction, but I'm saying in his particular circumstance, he was not a drug user. He was a fanatical health nut. He ran 10 miles a day. He was very regimented about his eating. He had a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so he was not a drug seeker. But the drugs that they accused him of seeking should have been administered to him because, by definition, he was the exact person that should have been given these kinds of drugs. He was not a drug seeker, and he was in a full-blown anxiety attack. And had they treated him, first of all, with some dignity while he was there, and then maybe had given him some, I don't know, some kind of, tranquilizer like a Xanax or something like that, that could have calmed him down, he might still be alive today. But he was totally mistreated, mishandled, and frankly, malpracticed in an emergency room, and I'm not alone. I've heard of other people that this has happened to. So it's not me, and even if it was just me, one person is one person too many. One dead son is one too many. This should never happen to anybody, ever. Should never happen to anybody. So my thoughts on, Suicide Awareness Prevention Day for 2024. The United States healthcare system needs to get their act together. We throw billions of dollars at all these problems: suicide, drug overdoses, cancer, diabetes, all of these things that we funnel money into, and it just gets worse. It doesn't get better. We need to start looking at accountability for these healthcare systems, and if it's not working, it's time to try a different approach. So anyway, that's my thoughts today. If you're out there and you're suffering, find somebody. If you don't have a friend, a safe friend that you can talk to, go to a church, go to a synagogue, go to a temple, go to a store and just walk around and clear your head. Say hello to somebody, smile. Anything to get yourself out of your head. I mean, if it's truly that terrible, don't feel you have no options, because you do. You do have options. Call yourself, an ambulance and get help, because suicide is a permanent solution to today's problem. Even tomorrow's problem, but it doesn't have to be next week's problem or even next year's problem, none of those. So please, 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 be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And God bless.